Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Paul from Vintage Sports Card Finds, and today, this week I made a couple of really big purchases on eBay, probably like last weekend, and the cards are starting to come in now. And so I wanted to go through this one because this was the first one that showed up. This is a nice set. I looked at mine and my set was pretty much complete. It had a series of upgrades. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 or 8 cards that needed to be upgraded for me to complete to see the set as complete. So what we're going to do real quick is we're going to just kind of go through some of these cards and see what kind of cards came in this lot. So this came from Greg Morris. The cards were graded by Greg Morris cards as excellent and near mint. They're all of that for sure. This card right here is one of the cards I needed. So this card here, it looks really, really sharp. And it looks like a solid representation of what I needed. It looks like card one that I had was in rough shape because it's got a U next to it, which means upgrade. So card one can now probably be fine. That's the updated the updates on that. And then of course I will go through at this point and painstakingly look at every card and determine whether or not which card I'm going to keep and which card I'm going to let go. So you got the semifinals here, and Topps was famous for doing this, having the each of the series outlined in a card, and so on and so forth. There's a number of these that might need upgrading, so I'll be looking at those very closely. This lot had 260 of the 330 cards. I didn't know exactly what I was going to look for or what I needed to look for, but it looks like the cards were in really great shape. Of course, throughout there are some cards, Johnny Busick, Perot. There are some cards that had waxing on the back or some on the front, but it was minimal. And that's to be expected with any lot from the wax era. You know what I mean? You're gonna end up having cards that are waxed. That's just, you don't put together a set of this size without having some waxed cards. In fact, a number of the cards that are on my list, actually, some of them have a W next to them because I wanted to get rid of waxing. So cards that were badly waxed. Lanny McDonald. Brian Hextall. As you can see, the cards are in great shape. Jim Lawrence. Gary Simmons. Stan Mikita. It always stuck out to me. I'm sure it has something to do with some sort of injury that Stan Mikita must have suffered. But it always stood out to me as a kid that I remember seeing his cards, and he was one of the few guys wearing helmets back then, So I always wondered what had happened to Mikita to make him wear the helmet. But I have to venture a guess that it was an injury of some sort. Because most of the guys back in this era did not wear helmets. It really kind of, I can remember a time, at least through video. I don't remember it in my hockey watching days, but a time where goalies didn't even wear masks, which is absolute lunacy, but it did happen. Kenny Dryden, nice card. Gene Potvin. Ricky Middleton. Nifty. Love this card. Looks like it had some waxing on it at some point. or it was just snowed, some snowing on it. Sometimes that snowing appears from waxing, removing wax. And some of these cards, like I said, some of these cards have wax on the back, and I'm going to sell most of these in a lot. I just wanted to upgrade my set, and then Gilles Gilbert, and then just resell them almost in an identical lot, like I bought it for the same amount of money, more or less. Pete Mihalovic, excuse me. It's been a long week, guys, and I am wiped. We worked some overtime this week. I took the time already to put these in numerical order, because while a lot of them were in numerical order, they were in like little batches, so as to make it easier for me as I go into my box and sort of upgrade my set. Eddie Jockman, we just looked at. So there are some stars, some big name players in here, like Mihalovic, Wayne Cashman. We've seen some very good players. Darcy Rhoda. Just some really, and the condition of these cards. Listen, if you're a collector of 70s hockey, you know how hard it is to find hockey, mid-70s hockey, and especially 60s hockey in any type of decent, good shape like this. I mean, look at the corners. Just banging. These cards are bangers. Derek Sanderson, beauty. And that was the other part of this that stood out to me, was that this was a lot with quite a few stars. I mean, and in the end, quite frankly, I paid somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 cents a card. So I got 260 cards. 260 cards. Yeah, about 30 cents a card. And I mean, for cards that look this good, quite frankly, and I'm going to look at these team cards closely, although they might not be on my list. My guess is I have some team cards that are probably ratted, and some of them who are unmarked. But of course, here some of the problems you're going to run into, right? You're going to have waxing on some of these cards. But that, like I said, that's to be expected. If you're going to buy a lot of of cards like this, you got to be prepared for them to have some waxing. Unmarked checklist, great news. That might be something that I can use as an upgrade. I don't know. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've gone into that box and really taken a look at it. But there is going to be some upgrading done here for sure. And that's really all you can hope for. And I think that by the time this set is done, I'm going to be looking at a, EX plus to near mint set, with the only issue for most cards is going to be centering. If there's an issue at all. But as you can see, a lot of these cards, centering-wise, not bad. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have some that are, like this, 80-20, 75-25. But, they're not off the page, off the card, So even that's pretty darn good. Like this. This is one more off the card. Basically, the edge is non-existent, almost. There's a Guy LaFleur, right? I mean, there's a handful of players from this era that you would say, you got to have them in a set, and LaFleur is one of them. LaFleur, Bobby Orr, players like that. That really kind of, Esposito, both Espositos actually. There's a handful, still Alps. There's a handful of stars you're looking for to make sure that they're in your set. I don't know. It's a good question. I should have researched it before I did the video. I'm not sure who's the big rookie in this set. I think the year after this it was Trottier. And Serge Savard. There's a nice card. Just some good stuff. They're just all in great shape. And, you always feel good when you're buying from Greg Morris cards because their grading is pretty much always on point. You know what I mean? Always on point. Always on point. And it's going to be a huge opportunity for me to upgrade this top set. And then, in true Reggie Vachon, these, I'm just going to upgrade the cards and then get rid of the duplication. And that's kind of what I do. And put together the best sets I can, Another unmarked checklist. It's great. Pat Quinn, Dave Forbes, and of course I'll look at some Bruins. See if there's any of these that I need for my Bruins binder, etc. This is a great Rick Martin. Sorry, this is going to be a little bit longer video, but this, I thought it was worth it. Craig Patrick. I don't know, quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that this is the Craig Patrick who coached with Herb Brooks, maybe? I don't know. That one I'd have to research to double check. But if you see any studs that I'm not naming, be sure to mention them in the comments below. Eddie Johnston. And I'm trying to flip through these a little bit quicker. Bill Clement, big time analyst. I'm trying to flip through these so it's not a 30-minute video, you know what I mean? So I'm really trying to just see if there's any bangers of superstars that I can show. But there is a couple of cards coming up that I want to look at. Okay, so card 200 is not here, and that was one I had as waxed. So I'm not going to be able to upgrade that card. I don't know who 200 is, but I'll have to look. As I'm going through, I'm sure I'll see it. And then you got the league leaders. These are always pluses. You got Bobby Orr on these. Another Bobby Orr, another Esposito, Marcel Dion. I mean, this is like a who's who of Hall of Famers for the most part. Here's again power play goals leaders: Esposito, Rick Martin, Ken Dryden, Bernie Parent, and Reg Vachon. Kenny Hodge. And if, like I said, they were just getting Butch Goring. Butch Goring also wore a helmet pretty early on as well. And I wonder if it was just kind of either they went through some injuries or they had teammates who went through some horrific injuries and they sort of kind of picked up on it and said, hell, we're not doing that. And so they started wearing them, It makes sense. Rod Gilbert. I mean, just the condition is incredible on these cards. Props to Greg Morris again for, nailing it on the grading. listen, if you're going to be a seller on any platform, eBay especially, and then online platforms especially, where people can't actually handle the cards themselves, grading is so critical. So yeah, I got Tony Esposito, card 240. And this is card Billy. No. That's another one that has eluded us. Sorry, I just want to move that a little bit out of the way. So there's a number of cards. Obviously we haven't run into Bobby Orr or anything like that. But we've run into a number of stars, and that's pretty good. There's another one, Dennis Hull. Obviously getting older in the picture, but still Dennis Hull, still Hall of Famer. So it's a good lot. There's Bob Nystrom. Consider him a pretty talented player. There you go, Brad Park. Card number 260. John Gould. Don Marcotte. Craig Ramsey. And then, of course, as guys came up into the league, they would start, Dennis Potvin, they would start to obviously wear helmets that dated back to their college days or their playing in the minors. Because if it's like any other sport, usually those changes occur at the entry level, if you will. Just wanted to see real quick. This is a card that's, I think this is Ace Bailey. If I'm doing this off the top of my head. I just saw the card and it stuck out in my head. I think he was a scout for the LA Kings at the time, or he was in their front office in some way, shape. And it, was on one of the planes on 9/11 and was killed as he was taking a flight back to LA. So, again, everybody was touched on that day on 9/11. And as you go, Bobby Orr All-Star card. That's a nice one. Okay, anytime you can get Bobby Orr on a card. Rick Martin. So this is the All-Stars, some key cards there. Like Guy LaFleur, how young he looks. Wow. Bernie Perron. Phil Esposito, still with the Bruins. That's good. A good card there. Guy Lapointe. Steve Vickers. Vachon. So some really nice cards. There's a Bernie Perron card. Card number 300. That's a nice one. One of my personal favorites, Terry O'Reilly, who I'm convinced is who the character in Happy Gilmore is based on. Lee Foligno. Pierre Plant. And we're down the last couple of cards. I'm sorry the video was a little bit longer, but I thought it was worth it because these cards were so nice. Hextall. And then some team cards. And these team cards are probably where I'll get some cards that needed to be upgraded. So I believe this note 314 needed to be upgraded, but it's not on the list. It's not one of the cards here. 317? Yes. So 317, this one here was the Chicago Team Leaders card with Makita, and basically a Stan Mikita list, a photo shoot of Stan Mikita. But the reason I was looking to get it upgraded was because of wax, and this card also has wax. And of course, not uncommon from the era, because if the cards were all cut in the same sequences, then if one card got waxed, there's a pretty good chance that other cards were going to get waxed. That you were going to find the same card waxed a lot, because they ended up in the same spot in piles or packs. So, and that rounds out the group there. The Maple Leafs, the Vancouver Canucks, and the Washington Capitals. Very good. So, hey guys, I really appreciate you hanging in there with us on this video. You did find a couple of cool things like Bobby Orr and some Ken Drydens and all apparent Bernie Perron cards, the Guy LaFleur cards. So it was a real nice score. I will now go in and compare it to the set that I have, upgrade what I need, and immediately post that on eBay in the next day or two. Because it'd make for a great starter set. You're going to get a lot of cards in really nice condition. That's why I bought it. So I think it will help somebody as well getting started on that set. Thanks so much for watching. I know this was a longer video. I appreciate you all. Thanks so much, guys, for subscribing. For all your support, your comments. Love it, love it, love it. Be sure to share and all that good stuff. And as always, happy hunting. Look out for a few more really cool videos this week. Thanks, guys. Bye.